Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru, back again after a week off, and boy did we miss the UFC. We are back in Kansas City with a welterweight main event. We've got Ian Machado Garry taking on Carlos Prates, the surging fight nerd himself. And to bring it all together, we've got a very special guest in the building. Make sure you check him out over on Bet MMA Tips, Pepe Sylvia 716 in the house. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Welcome back. How you been?
Thanks for having me, boys. It's been a while. I don't remember which card I was on last time, but it's probably been about 6 or 7 months. But yeah, things are going well over here. It's officially spring in New York, so vibes are high. Excited for this card. A lot of cool matchups, and I have a bunch of bets. Whenever there's not UFC for a week, I always end up with like a huge fucking slate because like I overtape a lot of these fights and I force a lot of action, it seems like. But I have a good amount of bets. I'm really looking forward to the card.
Hell yeah. Pepe, he is the man of the people. We appreciate you joining us. Jew, old-time friend of the show, goes way back to the beginning days, has been following the whole time. We really appreciate you. McPooperton, I'm glad you're doing your thing as well. Will you be our next week's special guest? I don't think so. Maybe you prove us wrong. But what's most important, if you guys are here already, do the right thing. We're live every Thursday, 8 o'clock, except this week. Things happen, but we're here to have a good time. Like the show, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you haven't, it wouldn't be too late to do the right thing. I would be judging you, but I have a feeling you guys already did so. So, Sparring with Reality, Luke, what is going on, man? Another friend of the show. Appreciate you so much for joining us on this lovely Friday night. And yeah, here we are, man. We're deep in the NBA playoffs. MLB season is starting. We've got the NFL draft going on. The flowers and the trees are all in bloom. And here we are, baby. It's Ian the Future Machado Garry versus Carlos the Nightmare Prates. And man, honestly, I was talking to the Guru earlier in the week. I can't think of a better main event on a fight night card between two prospects in a really long time. I mean, both of these guys are extremely high level. They're still new in their UFC run. And this isn't like a let's feed the prospect to the older guy and see if he can make his name. No, this is as good as a fight as you could possibly put together in my mind. Machado Garry, the future. Well, maybe the future is now. Is this the present? Because this fight seems like a title fight eliminator in my mind. The Guru special, right? The title contender eliminator. If one of these guys wins, they're probably on the short list of next opportunities. That's my guess. In the 170 division. Now,
although they did just book Usman versus Joaquin Buckley, so you got to figure these guys are also right there as well.
They're going to ask who does it better, right?
Very true.
And Dan Tom is also in the house. Appreciate you joining all the Pepe and the other boys in the house. And Luke, too. Man, best chat in the game. Appreciate everyone joining us. If you haven't followed Sparring with Reality or Dan Tom or our special guest, Pepe Sylvia, you're doing it wrong. So go and do the right thing there as well. And yeah, let's do this thing because minus 142 for Garry, plus 120 for Prates. I think this is very similar to the dynamic if you take away the age factors in the Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez fight. It's just I think Prates is a bit more technical of a kickboxer. So even though there's like a decision versus damage type of story, I mean, who's to say that Prates, his striking against expectation, technically he's got better distance striking than Ian Garry. So if this fight from distance, I predict that Carlos Prates is probably going to be winning the moments. He might not win every single minute of the fight, but I think he's going to win enough moments. Now, the question is, can Ian Garry win enough minutes by mixing in the clinch, the wrestling, potential back takes, and getting some control time? And I'm having a really hard time feeling confident enough in 25 minutes of safety on the Garry side. I can't take the minus money here. But I'm also very nervous about taking the Prates side. So if I had to take a prop, it would probably be Garry by decision, or just the fight goes the distance in general. I think that feels a lot better to me because we've got a couple of durable young prospects who, even though we've seen Garry hurt a couple times and we've seen Prates finish on the regional scene previously, I think where they're at right now, it's going to take a hell of a lot to get them out of there. Garry isn't quite the greatest finisher, and Prates, he's probably facing his toughest opponent yet. So over 3.5 at -105, fight goes the distance, solid plus money. That's where I would play if you're talking Finding Nemo. So Guru, what do you got over here?
I certainly like your angle of the fight going over because that is how I feel that this fight plays out. I do think that this fight takes place over time. Carlos Prates, who has generally just been a knockout artist during his trip to the UFC here, right? I like Ian Machado Garry's proven ability to win minutes in a fight. And this is a 5-round fight. So as long as this fight does continue to take place, I really, really do like Ian Machado's chances. I think as the fight continues to play out, I feel like Carlos Prates' diversity and his strikes will become more and more limited. He's kind of shown in the past that his cardio is a bit taxing, right? And not for nothing, I feel like when you're watching his fights versus even Chuck Buffalo and Trevin Giles, like those fights are like relatively competitive until they're not, right? Until he slept them. And I'm not convinced that he's sleeping Ian Garry here. Ian Garry's a guy that won 2 rounds off of Shavkat. And I think with some technical changes, he might be able to beat that guy. I think Shavkat would run through Prates. And don't get me wrong, right? Styles make fights. But with this fight taking place over 5 rounds, I really do like Ian Machado Garry. I got Ian Garry at -110. I'm at 3 units there, so I feel comfortable. But I also like the over. I like fight to start round 4. I think we get into championship rounds and maybe even a ladder from there. So while I didn't love TB's analysis, I do end up like where he ended up.
Where were you when they built the ladder to heaven?
All right, now I love TV's analysis. You can't hit me with the South Park reference.
All right.
Pepe, please tell us what's happening here.
Well, we're going to be completely balanced on this because I like the Prates side. I favor the power, the precision, and the moment upside for Prates in the spot. You know, he's going to be the one going forward. Garry has shown suspect defense. You know, say what you want about Prates, you know, dropping round 1 to Giles. That was his UFC debut. Ian Garry has shown suspect striking defense in a lot of his fights, and no one has really made him pay fully. You know, I think one of the props that looks pretty good to me is also Prates by decision at +800. Because, you know, we saw in the MVP fight that when Garry feels uncomfortable on the feet and doesn't like the power coming at him, he will kind of like really try to do his best to neutralize what's coming, like any action in the fight. And like he will just not really throw any kind of volume and just kind of try to survive a bit. And it's in the big cage, of course. You know, a lot has been said about Prates not having good cardio and that, you know, he smokes. You know, I'm not even sure that he actually smokes or if this whole thing is a bit for like marketing purposes, because I have never seen the guy slow down. You know, he seems to have good cardio. I like his volume. I like his pace. I like the accuracy on his strikes. I like his power. And yeah, I don't necessarily think that Gary's going to have a ton of wrestling success in this spot. So yeah, +800 on Prates by decision. I think he's the side at underdog odds. Let me try to think if there was anything else I wanted to add. No, I think, yeah, I like Prates as an underdog in this spot. Yeah, I mean, obviously the fighting nerds. He comes from a really, really fucking good camp that does their homework. And yeah, obviously the fight is, pretty obvious where Ian Garry is going to try to, win the minutes and kind of do his little ballerina stuff and skirt around the outside and blitz in. And I do think it's going to be a little more difficult for Prates to have like a stationary target for him to, get an easy knockout like he has in his other fights. So I do agree with you, but I think that Prates is going to be able to win the moments. And like when Garry gets hurt and he starts getting stunned, like even in the MVP fight, man, like he pulled guard, bro, in round 3. Like he got kind of, for lack of a better term, he in round 2, MVP kind of dominated him on the feet. And then in round 3, like he pulls guard and MVP is on top of him. It's 1-1 in round 3. MVP's on top of him with like 2.5 minutes left. And, we all know MVP is a really poor grappler, blue belt, terrible takedown defense. And MVP just stands back up and is like, I'm a striker. I want to strike this out. Like, had he just stayed on top, like MVP wins that fight, and we're not really having this conversation. So I think that IMG is getting a lot of hype from the Shavkat performance, and Shavkat was compromised in that fight. Like, do we really know how good of a striker Shavkat is? He's certainly nowhere near the striker that Prates is. So I definitely like the Prates side.
I think that makes a lot of sense. TB, just curious, when did you do these lines?
This was today at 2:00 on my lunch break.
There has been some heavy steam on Ian Garry here, coming up to -160.
Well, so on DraftKings though?
Everywhere. Bet Online, DraftKings, the whole shebang.
Yeah, -162. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Interesting stuff. And if that's the case, then I'm loving my overs, honestly.
I think the over makes a lot of sense.
Either way.
I don't know if you guys have noticed lately, but there's been like a ton of market steam lately, like day before fight or on fight day.
Oh, yeah.
That has been steamed the wrong way. And like, I don't know, I've been getting a lot of reverse CLV. And like, for instance, like the Verna Jandiroba fight, like everyone was on Verna that I know and like on her heavy, like big time. I bet her at like -140, -150. And it just kept going against me no matter how much I bet. And, she closed like -130 and, she won dominantly. So, don't always believe the CLV,
True. All right. With that lesson in mind, we've got Anthony Lionheart Smith at +350. Zhang Mingyang, Mountain Tiger, -455. The over one. This is another question of the Lion versus the Mountain Tiger. Who would you take in a jungle fight? It's a good question. I would always go with the Tiger. So with that in mind, Zhang Mingyang, I think he finds a way to land the bigger shots throughout the fight. But I'm very curious. I would love to hear, because I think Guru's cooking up some propulations that I'd love to get into. So, yeah, I think Smith in his retirement fight, I'm probably not going to take his money line or anything. But, Guru, how do you think this fight plays out?
I mean, hear me out. It's going to be sweaty as hell. And I may be a little crazy seeing as how Zhang, what's his name? Minyang Zhang. He's got 18 career wins and 18 career wins in round 1. I think this fight starts round 2, boys. I think we get there. I think we go over 5 minutes. Anthony Smith has fought a ton of tough people, and he's gotten finished plenty of times. But it is very, very, very rare that he gets finished in round 1. I mean, extremely. The last time he's been finished in round 1 was in 2013 to what's his face? Antonio Braga. Like, that's a really, really long time ago. So I really do like this fight to take some time. I honestly think it could go the whole way, but at the very least, I think that Anthony Smith is going to come out and fight pretty toughly, like he has his whole career in his home state. Well, he's Kansas City, right? I mean, at least he trains there. He lives there, right?
No.
Factory Muay Thai. No, he's from Texas. No, Omaha, Nebraska. Duh.
Yes. More Midwest.
Yeah, more Midwest. But yeah, fair enough. They'll rally behind their Midwest guy. Yeah, he's always been a Nebraska guy. He'd fly out to Factory Muay Thai. So, what do you think, Pepe? Am I crazy for that prop?
Dude,
you jump on the board with me?
Honestly, I don't hate it. This fight, I've been racking my brain to figure out how this fight is going to play out. And the truth of the matter is we have no idea. Like, there is no way to figure out how this fight is going to play out. There's too many X factors, too many unknowns. You know, Zhang, he's got a massive athleticism and age advantage on his side, but he's never won a fight outside of round one. And then, you know, you said, like, a big part of me wants to bet Anthony Smith at plus 350. You know, he's got way more experience, way more versatile game, you know, has actually won a fight outside of round one. And, like, you know, Zhang's losses are against, like, really, really poor competition. Askar Mozarov knocked him out. He got submitted by, like, a 2-2 guy on the regional scene. You know, that WLF regional scene usually doesn't produce, you know, high-level talent. You know, they're still kind of in their infancy as far as developing the martial arts. But it kind of just feels like a negative EV bet to bet anything in this fight. Like, I feel like I'm putting my money in a very, very risky spot betting on anything. Like, I feel like this is just like kind of like, I feel like this is just straight up gambling, bro. This is pulling the lever, dude. I honestly, you know, a part of me wants to, like, bet Smith and, like, the submission because, you know, Zhang was so easily submitted, but you'd have to think he's improving at 26, training in Vegas, and Smith is over the hill at this point. Like, his ability to get fights to the ground is poor. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna enjoy the comedy.
Damn it. I thought I could convince you, but you're right. I mean, it's very scary for me, but I just feel like, I mean, it was very interesting. Zhang was like, I'm ready for, you know, it's going to be 3 rounds of war. Like, he didn't say, like, I'm coming to take his head off, but like, he's kind of, I think that they do. I think they stand there and stare at each other for a little while because they're both going to respect each other.
To give credence to your bet, I was watching the Ozzy Diaz knockout, and, you know, he went down off like a jab, dude. Like, and he's a 185er, and he's always been chinny too. So, like, I mean, the guy's knocking out Tucos, Ozzy Diaz, Ribeiro, you know, who has been historically chinny too. So this is definitely a step up in competition. So, yeah, I mean, I don't hate it.
I appreciate that. Because, I mean, at the end of the, like, how exciting would it be to even bet on Zhang round 1 KO?
Nah,
I mean,
that's
what's the line?
What's the line on fight starts round 2?
Plus 100.
I got plus 100 on DraftKings. Let me see if it's still there.
That's not bad, dude.
That's how I felt. I felt like it was like a coin flip, and I'm getting my edge on it. So
yeah, but I only did half of the layout that the guru did. I think that was.
I may have went for a 5-unit maxi because I'm insane.
Tyrese maxi, you love to see it. It's minus 105.
Hey.
Now. And yeah, shout out
minus
Forrest
105
Daniels.
now. So shout out to me, CLV King, ready to put that ticket in the trash.
And shout out to Forrest Daniels. If you guys haven't smashed that like button already, come on. What are you doing? What are you doing out here? What do you got, Pepe?
No, I already gave my opinion.
Beautiful. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think Zhang wins. The funny part, his interview this week with Helen Yee, he's talking about how he's ready for a 15-minute bloody fight, all 3 rounds with Anthony Smith. I'd be willing to touch plus 400 for a quarter unit on top of my 2.5 units to start round 2, because I could see Smith. He pulls guard. He tells the ref before the fight, don't stop the fight unless I'm literally out cold. And he just finds a way to, turtle up and pull a Glover fight type of vibe, It's going to be ugly. We're going to be like, just stop the fight. Stop the fight. He's going to somehow make it.
Why would we be yelling to him to stop the fight?
Well, for the ref, he's getting his teeth knocked out.
Oh, the Glover fight? Yeah. Yes, but I obviously would not be yelling that if I have the fight to start round 2.
Not if you have GTD injected in your veins.
Exactly, yeah. So give me that. You got to fight Anthony Smith. You're a Lionheart. And that is what I'll be yelling tomorrow on my TV.
You don't even know what you'll be yelling, apparently. So
I was saying it could get so bad that you might want the ref to stop it, but I'll be rooting for it to go the distance. That was the point. It could look ugly, but
have you guys ever had
your face could look like Arena Aldana, and if I have a go fight goes the distance ticket, I want you to fucking fight.
Have you guys ever had a bet on like an over GTD and like it's so nerve-wracking that like you have to walk away and like stop watching?
Of course.
He's the Guru's walked away from plenty of exciting
I also walked away in celebration, like knowing it's over with Kamaru Usman. I'm gonna go get ready to celebrate, and he gets head kicked by Leon Edwards.
Yep,
that was my fault.
All right. In that case, we've got the Ninja Giga Chikadze versus President David Onama, the Commander-in-Chief. Nope, he's the Commander-in-Chief. The Silent Assassin's Vicente.
See, you could have called him Commander-in-Chief, and that would have been better. President is terrible.
I sent you both workshopping, and
I don't care what you sent me.
You enjoyed it all. That's all.
I don't enjoy any of it.
Fair enough. In this fight, I hope David Onama does to Giga Chikadze what I am going to do to you tomorrow night in retaliation. And I think Giga is going to pull what the Guru would do. He's just not going to want to fight anymore when things get ugly. But in this fight here, he's like, wait, am I inviting him over tomorrow? Or no, but in this fight, I really do think it comes down to the fact that Giga wants a clean, safe fight from distance, picking his spots, landing, with a high accuracy and good defense. And Onama is willing to go to a backyard throwdown with any opponent. And that includes JSP in the final 15 seconds of the fight, where I think he lost that last exchange on the feet, to be honest with you. But he was totally gassed out. And that's the question here. Now, it's not at elevation or anything. He's facing Giga, who comes off another long layoff. And I don't think – who does Giga really finish at this juncture? So Onama will probably have higher volume. They have similar efficiency in their striking. So if Onama's higher volume and he also is the guy with all the wrestling upside, well, Guru, what do you think could possibly happen in this fight?
What do I think could happen?
Benino might be stealing your thunder, though.
No, Benino's pretty much on it. That's exactly how I felt. I kind of came back to it pre-tape and post-tape, and it's just like I really do think that the sub could be live. The reason I like David Onama is because when you pressure Giga Chikadze, he just tends to break over time. And now he is 36 years old. So I feel like even though David Onama is not like the most technically sound individual at times, like maybe he doesn't have the best game plan, I do feel like his general skill set and power and activity level is going to be enough to beat Giga Chikadze. And if it gets dicey on the feet, I've seen David Onama rocked and start wrestling, right? Look at the Roberto Romero fight. So while some people could look at that knockdown and have what to say about David Onama, I kind of look at that and be like, well, he can somebody that has been able to weather adversity before. So I actually kind of like that. And when you look at the Giga kick, the famous Giga kick, I mean, he's finishing who? Jamie, the Black Ninja Simmons, and old Cub Swanson and old Edson Barbosa, and that guys, I mean, I know it makes me feel old, but those fights are 5 years ago. Five. Like time has just whooshed.
They seem like yesterday, though.
Yeah. Like whoosh, 5 years ago. See ya. So David Onama passing in the guard here. Time to get it done. I really do like the sub 2, sub 3 line. I wonder what sub is in general.
Plus
But
800 on ESPN. Best line.
yeah. I mean, that's pretty hot. So
It's getting a quarter unit right now.
it's probably going the distance. Like if we can just be honest.
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with what we call a grandma's couch cushion shot on David Onama by sub, because I think that there's a decent chance if there's grappling and extended grappling, hell, maybe he gets a body triangle. All of a sudden, you don't know.
I like it. Pepe?
I think more times than not, this fight plays out pretty close, honestly. I think more times than not, it probably goes to decision, and it's kind of like a split decision. The reason why I'm not betting Giga, though, is just because, first of all, I wanted to say my president is black, my Lambo is blue.
Hey!
Onama, this is a hometown fight for David Onama. He's much younger. He's got like the career trajectory on his side. He has potential grappling upside. I just think Giga is actually going to make it close. And I don't really think Onama is going to be able to replicate like a Kelvin Qatar performance against Giga, or some of the other, like Arnold Allen. Like, he's just not the same caliber striker, in my opinion. He's more of a like sit down in the middle and throw type of striker. So I don't really think that he's necessarily going to break Giga. And the issue with Chikadze is that he slows down in fights. He's getting up there in age. And so his upside, I don't really think he's going to get an early KO. Like, he could potentially hurt him. Onama is very hittable. Onama looks like pretty bad in round one in a lot of his fights. So I don't know. I kind of favor Giga to win round one, and then Onama to kind of start taking over a little bit. Maybe he gets the wrestling going. Maybe he doesn't. We don't really know what his game plan is going to be. He might try to just throw down, and if he fights like he has in a lot of his other fights, and it's a big crowd, I could see him just trying to go crazy and have like a firework fight, one where he's not wrestling and taking the most plus EV approach for the submission or even winning the fight in general. But like, I could see him trying to have an exciting fight. And I just think it's going to be a close fight. But, I'm not going to bet it.
He's fighting out of Kansas City, Missouri, right? So
yeah,
that'll help. I think that'll help.
Brought it up.
So
it could sway the judges for sure. And I
think it just sways the crowd, which could help sway the judges.
Yeah.
They're going to react to his strikes.
Shout out to our boy Dan. Can't wait to have you on for the UFC ATL card. That'll be a good time.
Absolutely.
And hell yeah, Pepe with the elite content right there. All right, we're moving on. Seems like we have at least some partial agreement here. I think we're digging into grandma's couch for this one. All right, on to our next fight. We've got Demolidor Michel Pereira, my fitness consigliere Michel, versus Abus Homo sapien Magomedov. It's Abu Sapien, so I think he's the Homo sapien. You can't argue with facts. Minus 142 Michel Pereira, plus 120 for Magomedov. In this matchup, man, I mean, this should actually be kind of a banger, especially early. At least that's the expectation on my end. And whatever happens after that, that's anybody's best guess, because I think both guys technically on paper are live for round one finishes. And we've seen each guy also have some success as the fight plays out. It's just here, I don't know. I tend to think that Michel is a bit more of a special fighter from a technique perspective. And Abus is one of those guys where he uses his size and just like he finds a safe place. I feel like that's how Abus needs to fight. And Michel, he's all about controlled chaos at this point. It used to just be chaos, but now I think it's Michel Pereira's time here to rebound from the Anthony Hernandez fight, not face 29 takedown attempts in one matchup, and have a bit of space to be the better distance striker I know he's given up a little bit of reach. I think he's way faster. I think he's the better athlete. And it's not easy to take him down. He's got amazing takedown defense, 77%. And that's after the Fluffy fight. He's been controlled for 20% of his fight time. And that's after 4.5 rounds of the Fluffy Hernandez experience. And yes, Luke, that's all I do is I just dream of these names all week until this evening, just so that the guru can shit all over them. And yeah, Damali Dar versus. So here's my other argument. I think Michelle's cardio is fine. If you put anybody in there against Fluffy, it's a problem. But then, Abus, he's kind of gassing out against Bruno. And if he wasn't so much bigger, I don't think he's able to land that takedown in round 3. He's kind of on skates and then gets a miracle takedown. I mean, I had an Abus ticket in that fight. I thought he would win. But that was really sketchy going into round 3. And it was even sketchier as the round plays out. So I think Michelle's got the better cardio if this gets sketchy. And I think Michelle actually has a bit more of the upside as the fight plays out. So I would do Michelle Pereira and over 4.5 minutes of fight time. I don't think either guy will end up with the finish in the first round. But as it plays out, I see Michelle either winning a decision or kind of putting it on Abus here. I don't know. Maybe money line is good enough and I'm just getting greedy.
I mean, I'm just kind of confused by it all, because the line doesn't make that much sense to me. I feel like it should be much wider, but it kind of keeps coming in and out. So, I mean, I guess I maybe shouldn't look too much into it then, because I agree with you very much, TB. It's like all of a sudden, Michelle Pereira.
Why is everybody agreeing with me? What's happening? What did I do?
He survives till round 5 with Fluffy Hernandez, the dark horse of the division, where he's a plus 115 underdog, right? A very close fight. And then here you're fighting Abus Magomedov, who, like you said, TB, he gets clobbered by Bruno Ferreira round 2, and it's 1-1 going into 3. And like you said, Bruno's just kind of too small and tired himself. So Abus gets the takedown, is able to choke him out. Was fairly impressive in that regard. I just don't think the MMA math is mathing when you're like, oh, well, he just submitted Bruno and Michelle Pereira just got submitted, so now he's going to submit him. It's just like, I just don't necessarily see it that way. You're right, TB. He's bigger, he's thicker. He's got jiu-jitsu of his own. He's probably the more powerful guy as well. He's certainly more explosive. So I do kind of like your play. I might end up getting there. But the truth is I really just think that I really just kind of like the overs in general. Oh, is that really true? The over 1.5 is minus 220? That's like way higher than I was expecting.
Minus 210 now, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Pepe?
Yeah, I think that Michelle is a bad matchup for Magomedov, honestly. I think that, the power difference on the feet early is going to be huge. And, the biggest thing in this matchup for me is that the durability, the difference in durability between the two is huge. I think Pereira has better cardio too. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see Pereira getting takedowns as the fight goes on. I wouldn't be surprised if Pereira hurts him bad early. He's got a ton of power at 185. Like he's finished a bunch of guys early in round 1. Like he damn near had Fluffy out of there. Like he was going crazy. And yeah, Abus just doesn't push the kind of pace that's gonna gas Pereira out. So yeah, I like Pereira a good bit at this price tag. And I wouldn't play the over. That's way too much juice on the over 1.5. I think Pereira could spark him early. The thing is, the UFC likes Michel Pereira quite a bit. He's a fun and exciting fighter. They like putting him on cards in front of a crowd. They give him these matchups where he can really get a finish and a highlight reel. If you go through a lot of his career, they match him up on cards where it's in front of a big audience. And, I think that they're doing that again here. Like, we gave you the dark horse of the division in Anthony Hernandez. You know, you did your best, but obviously you came very short. Here is another matchup where you can get another finish in front of a big crowd, and we can continue to use you as, you know, like maybe top 10 to 15 kind of guy and have fun and exciting matchups. I think Abus is a fraud, to be honest. You know, I haven't liked what I've seen from him at all. So yeah, I like Pereira. I think he's going to get a finish.
Nice. Yeah, you talked me off of the over 4.5 minutes same game parlay idea. It's Michel or bust, and I think I'm going Michel. All right, we're moving on here. We've got come on, rude boy, Randy Brown versus Danish Dynamite, Nicholas Dalby. He doesn't just have double D's; he's got triple D's. Danish Dynamite Dalby,
triple D's.
Triple D's.
Look at the gynecomastia on this mofo. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So in this matchup here, I mean, we've got the significant 6 years older, 4 inches less reach, 4 inches less height. And, you know, Nicholas Dalby is one of those guys where it's, I'm going to push forward pressure, a bajillion kicks, push a bunch of pace, get in your face, push the clinch. You know, takedowns aren't really high level, but he's going to do his best, right? I don't know if his best is good enough in this fight. I think he's severely outmatched from an athleticism perspective, from a touch and go thing. Like, what up, Dogfather? How we doing, bro?
Speaking of touch and go.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez Louise.
What is he doing in that nice new apartment of his? That's what I need to know while he's watching this video.
How much do you guys talk?
Now I know why he moved to the Northeast.
He's trying to close the proximity. Things are getting spicy. But listen, in this matchup, I think this is Rude Boy's chance of a lifetime. This is his chance of a lifetime, man. You put a stamp on this one, I don't know what happens differently. I mean, this isn't like the matchup that propels him anywhere, but it's one that he should win. Randy Brown, he's way faster. He uses his jab 1-2 beautifully. And I don't think Dalby's typically one of those guys that like he's really got any finishing potential unless you melt. And Randy Brown had the perfect opportunity to melt in round 2 versus Zaleski, and he didn't, right? And he doesn't melt. So how does Dalby get him there? He
just pushes him in the clinch for a million hours.
Yeah, but he doesn't have back takes. He doesn't
need back takes. Why does he need back takes?
He's a worse athlete than Zaleski as well, Nicholas Dalby. And I think
Guru, are you making a case for Dalby?
I just hate Randy Brown so much.
How can you hate Randy Brown, bro? That's criminal.
I don't get it.
He's from the Northeast.
Whenever the Guru doesn't like fighters, something similar typically is happening. I wonder what's
the similar thing that happens? They get released from the UFC. Like, what are you talking about?
Who are some other guys that you've like went on tangents about that you hated recently?
Let's see. Dwight Gooden.
Okay.
Not Dwight Gooden. Yeah.
Interesting. Jared Gooden. Okay.
Jared Gooden. That's what I meant. Not Dwight Gooden. I love Dwight Gooden.
All right. 2 for 2.
Jared. Yo, chill.
Thank you, Dogfather.
You're never gonna beat the racist allegations.
Yo, you need to chill.
I'm just saying, Michael Johnson. That's number 3.
Bro, he loses to
Bill Haas.
Who is he beating? I mean, I don't know, man. Who's he beating that's impressed you?
Well,
like,
knocking out Muslim Salikov is certainly impressive to me.
Is it really? The guy is ancient.
He's a better striker than Nicholas Dalby, and isn't Nicholas Dalby also 40 years old and ancient?
Yes.
Dalby's
so tough as nails, though.
Listen, there's no shot that I'm parlaying Randy Brown or anything like that.
That's kind of my point. At
the under 2.5 at plus 195, I think the only person that's liable for a finish here is Randy Brown. Shout out to the Dogfather for planting this idea, but Randy Brown won.
That's not the only thing he planted.
Whether it's by knockout or submission, the Guru's just jealous because he's been trying to have his seeds planted, and
Jesus Christ.
He can't. Dude, you should see what this guy sends in the messages. It's sketchy.
Go ahead. Pull up the seeds. Go ahead.
All right. Anyways, no, I think Randy Brown round 1. is a cute way to steal money from grandma, spend a little bit of money, and if you lose, it's not that bad. What's going on, Jeremiah? Appreciate you.
Why round 1? Because he's finished Muslim Salikov round 1? Because he finished Alex Oliveira round 1?
Well, I mean, listen,
why?
It's like
why not round 1?
It's like plus 800, plus 900 or something like that. Why not?
Because he's well more likely to get it in 2 or 3.
I don't agree.
I don't agree.
Dude, because Randy Brown is fucking nasty in round 1. That's why.
Yeah.
Dude, his striking is sick in round 1. Like his movement, the way he manages range, his power, like the accuracy on his strikes, like he is really good in round 1. He was fucking destroying.
Well, that's because he gets tired.
he gets a little more nonchalant, we'll say, as the fight goes on. But I mean, Dalby is due. That's what we'll say. Dalby is due to get finished. You know,
have we seen that regression though?
What do you mean?
Like, have you seen him getting hit more? Have you seen Dalby being chinnier? Like, I haven't seen that.
Well, who's he actually fighting though? That's really, I mean, listen, he's had a couple good performances. Yeah. I'll give it to him, but for gambling purposes, you know, we're betting.
I'm not interested. Right. I'm just, it's a pass. I mean, to me, it's like Occam's razor. It's like Randy Brown by decision. Like, it's the simplest answer is the explanation.
My thing is, I think Brown can win by KO. He could win by submission. He could win by decision. Whereas I think Dalby can only win by split decision.
Agreed.
So honestly, I think Randy Brown should be like, I think he's like, 75% to win this fight, honestly. And I do think that, like, I think it's smart to target the early finish props, because you're betting against a 40-year-old and you're getting really good prices because he hasn't been finished. The books aren't pricing in that he was finished by Jesse Ronson a few years ago. So, you get the fade the 40-year-old who has poor striking defense, who no one has really made him pay recently. And then you're also getting the fact that the books aren't pricing in that he was finished a couple years ago by Jesse Ronson and it was switched to a no contest. So people who, set lines based on previous results aren't going to have that in there. So I think it's sharp to target the early finishes.
I think that's the only thing that the current prices allow you to play at a plus EV play. Like, that's,
it really depends. We gotta see how the fight is gonna play out. Like, Randy Brown could toy with him on the feet too, for 3 rounds.
I just see that mixed with Dalby's cage pushing, and I do see it just going to a decision.
Yeah, cage pushing doesn't score.
No, for sure. That's why I'm not betting Dalby.
No.
Yeah, I'll take Randy Brown to win the fight, and I'll take a shot on the round 1 prop. Grandma's couch. Dig in it.
You are just all over Dogfather. That is what he told you. He has planted a chip in your brain and told you to say, Randy Brown, round 1, you need to play Grandma's couch cushion. That is not an original thought, my friends.
I think, and I never claimed it to be. That's how I introduced.
Oh, okay. We're just doing podcasts here and using other people. That's all right. Whatever. We're moving on.
Well, you're not allowed to do research and talk with other people. We talk to each other all week. I texted you about it on Tuesday. Like, why are you so salty? What's going on, brother?
Somebody's salty, and it is.
You're gonna be salty when we're all counting our Randy Brown round 1 money, and you're not gonna have anything to count.
Sharp stuff, brother. Sharp stuff. All right. Anywho, we're moving on to the fact that if you haven't thrown a like or subscribed to this channel, you're committing a crime. And if you don't fix it immediately, the cops will be arriving at your house shortly. So just throw a like on the video. We don't want to have to send to the cops at your house. All right.
That's TV's thing. He's the narc.
Anyways, we got Ikram Alibaba Aleskarov versus Andre Sorgipano Muniz. This fight, minus 520 for Alibaba, plus 390 for Sergey. Over 1.5, minus 130. So they're telling you this fight's probably ending inside the distance, like the vast majority of the time. But it's somehow making it to mid-round 2, half of it. This is like their prediction. I'm very confused, and I think I need to pass on this fight altogether because it's either Ikram murders this guy, Muniz is able to get control time, potential submissions, but I don't think that's possible against a wrestler like Ikram. So why wouldn't Ikram just finish this guy right away? I don't know. So, I mean, I would say Ikram round 1 knockout, call it a day, but something's telling me I should probably just pass here. What are we thinking?
I kind of think I don't really see how Muniz wins. I don't see him getting takedowns. He doesn't have good cardio. Ikram will be able to get takedowns. He's going to play off his back. It's a jiu-jitsu guy fighting a combat sambo guy who has much better striking, is younger, better cardio. I think Muniz is drawing extremely thin to win this fight. But yeah, I agree. I think it's really weird how the over 1.5 is minus 130, but the GTD is like plus 400 or some shit. Like one of those lines is very off, I don't know exactly how I'm gonna play this fight. I wonder if Ikram will submit him in rounds 2 or 3. Like that would be interesting because Brendan Allen submitted him, Paul Craig TKO'd him. Like, is Ikram really gonna decisionate him? Probably not. So I think Ikram wins inside the distance, not the most, crazy take out there. But like I said, I don't know if I would just play the KO because the sub 2-3 angle is there. What do you think, Guru?
I mean, I kind of just like the round 1 KO, and if like for like a grandma's couch cushion type thing. Otherwise, it's really just not a fight I'm interested in playing. Ikram has he's barreled through Warley Alves and Phil Hawes, and I'm not, kind of like we've been saying, like I'm not exactly sure why this wouldn't look different. Like, why couldn't he just do something spectacular here? Obviously, it's been a while since he's been finished that quickly. The Azamat Mazarkanov knockout was in 2016. Since then, he has been finished twice in the UFC, but those are by predominantly ground fighters. And Brendan Allen just beat the piss out of him, and Paul Craig as well, getting control over him. So that fight was kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, what is Andre Muniz's win path? I mean, he literally has 15 submissions and 13 of them are in round 1. Like, he's not submitting Ikram Aleskarov, so I just don't really like him here. And that's what you can see at minus 520.
So you think it's going to happen in round 1?
Otherwise, why is he minus 520? Like, this would be
he's minus 520 because Muniz isn't going to be able to wrestle him. So he has decision equity because he can get takedowns and get on top, and he doesn't have to finish him, even though Muniz likes to be finished.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, okay. Who doesn't? You know what I mean?
Okay. All right,
I don't know.
Got my attention.
I feel like Andre Muniz's path to victory is Ikram Aleskarov swinging himself out of position and Andre Muniz literally just jumping to the back and subbing him right then and there. So, and if that's how you feel, take your grandma's couch, your dart throw on the round 1 sub by Andre Muniz and keep on pushing. Because otherwise, I just don't think that this guy has the cardio, the heart, the metal, the damage, and anything to get it done. So, I mean, if you really think it takes some time, Pepe, if that's more of the handicap, then why not just kind of play round 2 in general?
That's what, I was looking around to see what the prices were, but
because the round 1
the books are onto it though.
The problem is the round 1, round 2 grouping is minus 170, which I don't mind taking a minus 520 to a minus 170, but it's just not great.
It would be cool if he got the sub, because the sub 2-3 numbers are way fucking bigger.
Yeah. I just feel at the end of the day, I mean, he's been submitted 1 time and it was by
Brendan Allen. Yeah.
So I just think that he's a much better jiu-jitsu player than Ikram Aleskarov.
Well, he could be, he is. That's, he has a jiu-jitsu base, but it's like when someone gets tired like that, they can't defend themselves, and
And I just feel like in that context that like Ikram has kind of shown he's much. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say much more willing, but what are his subs? He's got subs by Kimura, guillotine, armbar. I don't know. He's not. Is he going to get one of those arm?
No, it would need to be like a rear naked choke, bro.
Right. When he doesn't really do that as much. At least we haven't seen. It'd be his first rear naked choke in his career.
So Muniz has 6 finish losses in his career. All of his losses come by finish. The only one by submission was in round 3 when he's beat up and gassed out at the same time and gives up a back take. If we're in round 3, I mean, I don't think that's happening. I'd rather take fight goes the distance. So Ikram round 1, round 2 knockout is minus 105 because he's probably not subbing him in the first 2 rounds. He's probably going to knock him out. So minus 105, you can shave it down a bit on FanDuel. I think it's probably just round 1 plus 250.
Shave you down.
Ikram, he's got 7 round 1 finishes and 3 round 2. So maybe you don't need to get too cute here. And you could just do round 1, round 2, and knockout instead of having to say round 1 or 2. I like that minus 105 idea, potentially. All right, great. I'm glad you have the same microwave as Pepe. Pepe, do you have a YouTube or a Facebook page? I know
just
a GoFundMe.
Just follow me on Twitter.
Nice.
Follow me on Twitter, and I post any kind of content that I'm doing on my Twitter.
Under plus 100
because we're greedy, dog father. That's why.
Yeah, but we're also taking a minus 105. So are we doing the right thing? To be determined. We've got Danger. It's Matt Danger Schnell, minus 185 versus Jimmy the Brick Flick. Help! I'm in danger. Yeah, I don't understand the Flick team. I'll be honest. He's got legitimately one path to victory, and unless you're hurting Matt Schnell first, he's typically not tapping. Like Cody Durden's piecing him up on the feet for a bit. When he loses to Brendan Royval, he gets hurt first before getting guillotined. And I know it looks bad when he's tapping out. It's just like you got to do something first to get there. And what's Flick going to do? Jump guard? Is he going to go for a flying triangle again? Like, I just think Schnell, I think the original pricing was probably correct. Like, he's going to win the distance striking battle. I know he's not a great striker and he doesn't have a great chin. But ultimately, it just comes down to the fact that I think Schnell is probably the better fighter. I get he just retired. He got knocked out by a few different guys. If they have UFC nicknames, I typically don't. It's a good question, though. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I think Guru would probably throw up on air if I had nicknames for every fighter. I think that's the real reason. But just immediate like Exorcist vibes. He'll go to 360, just vomiting around the room. But yeah, I think Schnell should win. Am I going to play his money line? No. The over 1.5 at minus 110.
I love it.
Pretty egregious. Schnell by decision.
I need it.
I think it could happen. I don't know.
I mean, they're going to play Rock'em Sock'em robots with each other, and nobody's getting finished. It's going to be hilarious. They're flyweights, not heavyweights. Why is the fight to go the distance plus 290?
Dude,
I mean, are the allegations about the chin real? Like, I understand how bad it's looked at times.
It's looked very bad. I mean, he gets rocked a ton. He gets rocked a ton. Getting knocked out by Matthias Nicolau is not ideal. Jimmy the Brick Flick, getting knocked out by, Charles Johnson, Ray Rodriguez, not ideal. Fellow card member Chris Gutierrez.
Oh no, I was talking about Matt Schnell's chin. So
Hector Sandoval knocks him out round 1. Pantoja, understandable, but he just gets cracked. Rob Font's the first one to crack him, and that probably should have been the writing on the wall right there. So I don't know. I like over 1.5, but I'm just not interested in playing this fight at all. Otherwise, the other interesting way to play this fight is you just play it to end by KO, which is probably a stupid number. I have no idea what it is. But that just seems funny to me. I don't know.
I think the
Not-
smart idea is probably to pass.
Yeah,
I
I
had to
mean,
guess. I'll pick
either
Schnell.
either one could retire at any second.
Like in the middle of the fight.
Yes.
Pepe?
I think the smart idea is to bet the over. Inject the GTD plus 300 into
That's
my
what I
games.
said.
Yes.
Give that to me.
Yes.
Give that to me.
Pepe agrees
Like
with me.
neither of these guys have power.
That's what I said.
How is the fight gonna end early? Like,
Yes.
what is the biggest threat to early finish? Jimmy Brick submits him, right? That's probably the most likely finish is like some sort of meme submission.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I get Schnell has like tapped in inopportune times. Like the Durden one was bad, but the one against Royval, like he was fucking rocked and he got guillotined. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how often Schnell is getting process subbed by Jimmy Flick. I mean, there's plenty of worse opposition that Flick has fought where he was able to get takedowns and couldn't get the submission. Like, you know, a lot of his subs are like, you know, kind of weird, you know, long shot submissions. He doesn't have a ton of process subs. So, and on top of that, his wrestling's not that good, but I think Jimmy Flick's cardio has gotten a little bit better. I think he's a little tougher than he used to be earlier in his career where he would pack things in, you know, after a couple minutes. Like he's showing a lot more heart against Nate Maness and Costa. Like, you know, Costa and Johnson are obviously pretty decent strikers, you know, within the top 15 of the division. You know, Charles Johnson finished Josh Van. Alessandro Costa, he's got power. Flick was able to, yes, Flick got finished, but he was able to take it, you know, a little deeper into the fight. I just don't think Schnell has that kind of power, honestly. So I like this fight to go over. I think plus 300 on GTD is egregious, honestly. But I like over 1.5 as like the safer play.
Yeah, I really, damn it, I said I was going to pass, but I think I'm back to the over with you guys. That is the hottest thing that we could do.
I love it. I mean, it doesn't make they're flyweights. It doesn't make any sense. They have no knockouts. So what? They're both chinny. They don't knock people out. I love it.
Let's do it. I totally agree. All right, we're moving on. We've got the Phenom Evan, respect your elders versus Gage G Money Young. That was his own nickname. Pretty solid, Gage. I like the G Money nickname. Do I like you stepping up on short notice, taking this matchup here?
You know, I'm a fan of G Money.
He's a fan of G Money. Ultimately,
why.
Ooh.
Got it.
Now, in this fight, I mean, Gage Young was definitely training leading up to this fight. He had a fight scheduled for May 2nd, so it's not like he's coming off the couch and having no training camp. But, you know, it's for a guy of an elder that actually has some pretty solid UFC experience. And I just think he's going to give him a tour of the octagon. Here, Gage, come on in. We can swing dicks for a little bit, but I think Elder is just going to land a little bit more consistently. I think he's got a little bit more of the control time upside in this fight, just given Gage Young's like lack of, you know, high level experience. And seeing like Quillen Salkilled, he keeps going back to the well. Gage Young keeps on getting up. I think Elder has a little bit more sit down in a position type of idea, and he's got a little bit more build to him. And I think Gage Young, if he is going to do these active scrambles in this type of matchup, making his debut in front of they're both from the area. Shout out Guru. But yeah, I think Gage Young, like trying to basically like show out in front of the home crowd. Well, I think that there's a big chance that he could leave something short in his debut. So I'm not going to take the dog shot here. Elder is the pick. And I would say the fight goes the distance. And God, I hate it so much. Minus 260. Seeing Gage Young get armbarred like 2.5 years ago, well, that takes me from playing a minus 260 on a fight goes to maybe I just need to pass on this fight and pick Elder to win it.
I just don't know that Elder's very good. Gage Young is like not very good either. But I mean, losing to Parsons by a decision is just like, I don't know. It sticks in my
Up a weight class. He took the fight on fight week,
that's
and he
true.
got taken down 4 times against the way bigger college wrestler.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And then Nazim Sadikov, he's up 2018 on the scorecards, and it's a cut stoppage.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
So I know Valdez and Flowers aren't the most impressive.
That's the problem.
Wins.
And then this one doesn't help either, but at least he'll have 3 wins in the UFC.
Yeah, most likely. And Gage Young, he got his ticket to the show. Unless
he got two tickets to paradise.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Gage Young like really needs like a knockout. Like I'm just not sure that he's going to have, especially on short notice, the cardio or pace to be able to fend off Evan Elder. I feel like while it could be an interesting fight for a little bit, I feel like he's just going to be outgunned in this spot, just outmatched overall. So I do like Evan Elder by decision.
Yeah, I think the fight goes long. Also, I think Elder. I wouldn't want to lay juice on Elder, honestly, because Gage Young, he's only 24 years old. You know, I think he's a decent prospect. You know, it is a big step up in competition. You know, the guys that Young is finishing on the regional scene are quite low level. I really don't think he's going to get a finish over Elder. Both of these guys are super fucking tough. They're both meat and potatoes kind of fighters. I think Gage will try to go for takedowns more so than Elder, honestly. But I do think Elder, I think they're both live to get takedowns, but I think Young is going to be more likely to go for them because I think Elder is going to want to try to keep it on the feet and kind of beat him up a bit. I was pretty impressed with Young's takedown defense on Contender Series. And being that he's only 24, he seems to have a pretty solid skill set. I think on the feet, I think it's going to look like a close fight, honestly. I just think that the experience of Elder and the cardio is the main thing of why I think Elder is going to edge this fight. But I think it's going to be competitive, honestly.
Yeah.
I think so too.
And that's why I can't pull the trigger on the Elder minus 205. There's something telling me I feel like I've not had a great run of taking these short notice replacement opponents. And I don't think it really has like any advantage in like the size or athleticism per se. But yeah, he's probably going to make it a tough fight, to your point. So why get in front of it? Got to do a better job of passing sometimes. So unless you truly got conviction in the dog, right? All right, here we go. We've got Chris El Guapo Gutierrez minus 148 versus John Sexy Mexi Castaneda plus 124. Over 2.5, an egregious minus 410.
Whoa, holy shit.
Yeah, it's egregious. Under 2.5 plus 290.
It's going over though. It is.
I mean, it's now minus 445 since I did these earlier.
Wow.
The only way that this fight doesn't go the distance is if Gutierrez gets a leg kick knockout.
Well, what if Castaneda like takes his back in round 1 or something and submits him? It's not impossible.
It's not impossible, but at the same time, I mean, like,
Cody Durden had his back in round 1 and like, you know, on short notice.
He has 2 UFC submissions, both in round 3 against guys that totally, completely gassed out.
Yeah. I mean,
late round 3.
Are you going to say it's 0%?
No, never, Pepe. And I would never say that to you.
Under 2.5 plus 290 is egregious.
Agreed. It's fucked up. It's wrong. Like, again, are these women's straw weights? Like, why is it minus 410 to go over 2.5? Like, to that point, Pepe, again, like the battlefield gives us what it gives us, right? And this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so prophetic and philosophical.
Who do you guys think is gonna win?
I got some Chris Gutierrez at minus 125, I believe.
Nice.
So, you know, I'm a little CLV slut like that, but I don't know. He's a little bit bigger. He's he's a little bit taller anyway. The reach is going to be a problem. I don't know. I just kind of like his general overall footwork and weaseliness against John Castaneda, who like gassed out versus Willie Cat. So
Yeah, does the fight being at 145 change anything for you guys?
they've tried to make this fight like 4 times, and each time, I mean, how many times has John Castaneda? I feel like John Castaneda misses weight, but
Well,
like,
he was supposed to fight Douglas. Douglas pulls out. Then he's supposed to fight Gutierrez. Castaneda pulls out. So he went from 135 to 140 to 145 now. They're going to rebook this fight in another couple weeks. It'll be a 155. Yeah, I got to go Gutierrez.
And the Kung Ho Kang fight was at catch weight as well. Was that because Kang missed weight?
I just think Castaneda's the catch weight king.
Yeah, he's got like that Kevin Gastelum, that Christian Rodriguez
Daniel
ability
Santos
to cut weight. Like they're not even that big, and like somehow they still can't cut weight properly.
Yeah, Daniel Santos' fight was also a catch weight. Like he just never fights that.
Yeah, he sucks at cutting weight. So I don't know. I think, obviously now it's not short notice for Gutierrez, and, they're in the big cage, which is obviously going to help Gutierrez. So I think Chris wins.
Christopher.
They didn't say why Castaneda pulled out, but I think it was weight cut related, and that's why the fight's at 145. I think he was having an issue getting down to 135, which is ridiculous because Gutierrez took the fight on short. He was the one who took the fight on short notice, and he was the one who made weight. And then, and then Castaneda was the one that pulled out and couldn't make weight. So they were probably like, listen, Chris, like, you're the one that came in on short notice, and you're the one that cut down to 135. We're not going to make you cut back down to 135 again in a month's time. We'll rebook the fight, but take it at 145. So yeah, I think Gutierrez should win this one.
Yeah, I think Gutierrez. I mean, he's taller. He's giving up reach, but what is he going to use? The calf kicks. And why is he taller? It's because his legs are so much longer. So he's going to be able to land the calf kicks first. And if Castaneda is just running forward trying to put pressure on, he's going to have way more pressure on his front foot. And yeah, he made weight for the Douglas fight. Wasn't that one a late notice 140 also? Didn't they move that one, or am I wrong? So yeah, I got El Guapo, and I think he's able to keep it safe and play from distance, have his game the way he wants it. The Monster, Blackshear versus the Mongolian Knight, Alatang Lee. I think I heard the guru say he hates Damon Blackshear also.
No, I do not hate Damon
Dude,
Blackshear.
you're never going to beat the allegations.
That's crazy.
No. He didn't say it about this fight.
I always liked Damon Blackshear because he's from CFFC.
Right. Now, the other thing is like, I mean, the line kind of tells the story here in my mind. But then
this is a story of a girl.
Over 2.5 at -160 with a -500. What's happening here? I don't love that. I think Damon is going to be able to get his grappling going at some point here. And I'm super interested in like the round 2, round 3 submission side of things, because I think Alatang Lee, he does have really good initial takedown defense and initial sub defense. But if he's getting worn out in these grappling exchanges, he's the way smaller guy with like 6 inches less reach. He's going to be getting beaten to every position, and front chokes and rear naked chokes, they get made a lot easier when you have longer limbs than your opponent. So yeah, I'm very, very interested to see if Damon can actually lock the submission up here, because if not, yeah, this fight probably goes the distance and it's probably a clear decision for Damon. But you can love a -500 at that point. So Alatang Lee's got 3 knockout losses and 1 sub loss. It's been a while since he's been submitted. I think we could see it here. I mean, Damon has been just absolutely dominating his opposition on the mat. Guru?
I like Damon Blackshear by submission, round 2, round 3 at let me pull up that line. I just think that Damon Blackshear is going to attack Alatong Haley, where he's not particularly great, which is his grappling defense. I just think this is a tailor-made matchup for Blackshear. And why the over gets tricky is just because Alatong, I think, is decently tough. And that Blackshear, again, like his submissions just tend to come late. So when I look up at this round 2, round 3 submission, it's plus 390, which is not super delicious, but it's not terrible. So I'll probably take maybe a little baby sprinkle on that little quarter unit. But that's pretty much it. Otherwise, it's just going to be like 3 rounds of boring control time, which would not be fun.
Or it could be 3 rounds of striking on the feet.
You think?
It could be, yeah.
It'd be interesting. If that's the case, then, Blackshear minus 500 is a little dangerous.
Yeah, the thing about it is. I think there's potential for it to be somewhat kind of close, but I mean,
Luke is officially removed from the chat, by the way.
That's
crazy.
he has all the grappling upside. He's way bigger. The thing about Haley is like he doesn't do great at adjusting his game plans, and we've seen in like countless fights where like against Gutierrez, like he didn't get to wrestling until he was already like kicked to shit for like 2 full rounds and was already down 2-0. Against Casey Kenny, he was just eating body kicks the whole time. Like Blackshear has good kicks. I could see him, being able to keep the fight on the feet and kind of teeing off on Haley, and Haley just being tough enough to survive. So yeah, that's my thing with it. I don't necessarily think. I don't know how good Blackshear's wrestling is, and yeah, Haley has been training with Brandon Olivas, his jiu-jitsu, so he's saying that he's coming in like career best, and he's looked really good. But if all you need is for him to survive, I don't hate GTD at minus 118. Because then you also get the chance of Haley winning a decision. Like Luke was saying, any chance Haley wrestles and is just able to get on top. Like, let's not forget that Damone Blackshear lost to Chris Mutino. I mean, it was a while ago. His record in decisions is 3-6. And so I'm not going to rule that out for sure.
Yeah, it's not out of the question. There's a reason it's grandma's couch cushion or pass for me. I'll lean more towards the round 2, round 3 sub than the overs or the Alatang decision idea. But yeah, there's enough sketchiness at the line and the overpricing that something smells fishy to me. So we'll see how it plays out. I do appreciate, getting some more of like, hey, I mean, you can't rule anything out in these fights sometimes. And we've definitely seen Damon struggle at different points on the regional. I'm real curious to see how this one plays out. I just think we saw a whole other level in what this guy's done in short notice Yusuf Zalal, short notice Mario Bautista. Like, I don't know, he's looked a bit better against a bit better competition. I think he has grown as a fighter. So yeah, I will pick Damon here. Round 2, round 3 sub plus 390 for the vibes. Let's have some fun. We're moving on. Oh boy. Malcolm the Machine Wellmaker. Malcolm the Welder Wellmaker versus Cameron MSP Simon. What is this MSP stuff going on? I don't get it.
Multiple sclerosis or whatever.
Probably not, but you can't rule it out. I have no idea what this thing is. So Cameron, I mean, given what his coaches have done with Dricus Duplessis, maybe it's Cameron the Cayman, Simon, if you feel what I mean. Anyways, so Malcolm Wellmaker in this fight, coming off of the Contender Series, a couple of the things I take away is that he's comfortable fighting off of the back foot or the front foot. He might keep his hands a tiny bit low as he's, moving laterally, working his way outside of the pocket, but he actually has the head movement to back it up. And then when he is in distance, he uses back steps in range to stay safe in exchanges. And when guys go to take him down, He can end up pinned along the fence. He could potentially give up his back for short periods of time while standing, while trying to fight the hands and avoid a takedown. But typically, he's not ending up taken down or giving up extended, damage or submission attempts. And he'll work his way into dominant position once he gets out of these, takedown attempts from his opponents. On the Simon side, I don't know. He's a bit sloppy. I feel like he's got decent combinations and volume when he's working off the front foot, but there's zero defense. It's all a bit just kind of thrown together, all willy-nilly, I think, offensively. And, I've seen him show that, maybe once he gets beaten out in a scramble here or there, or if he doesn't have his way, he'll cheat in a fight. He'll do some really dumb shit. He'll also just kind of give up, just kind of call it, pack it in. Doesn't mean he's necessarily going to be easy to finish. You see the beating he takes from Peyton Talbot before the ref mercifully stops in and saves him from his own self. But yeah, I really think that Cameron Simon here, he doesn't have the defensive chops that Wellmaker does. He's going to be the shorter, less reach, and I think he's a worse athlete. He comes in looking in a bit better shape after taking the last year off, but I really don't see it from put it all together type of thing. And if I thought he could put together a 15-minute chain wrestling attack, like maybe I would even say, okay, I got to pass on Wellmaker, but I just think Wellmaker is going to be able to land counters at will. If Simon is going to be the aggressor and not shoot takedowns proactively, Wellmaker is just going to land counters until Simon's on the mat. So it's pretty clearly a Wellmaker spot for me. He's moved since I did this from minus 112 now to minus 130. I placed the bet at minus 125 earlier in the week, got reverse CLV'd, and it seems like I'm back in a place where I'm in the driver's seat again. So I think Malcolm Wellmaker wins this fight any way he wants to by being the better athlete and having way better defense all around. Guru, what do you think here?
I kind of echo the same sentiments. I was nervous after following you earlier in the week, and the line kind of moved against us. But after doing tape, I honestly feel that Wellmaker is the more well-rounded prospect here. He hits harder. He's patient. He's very relaxed. Cameron Simon is a bit of a punching bag. He kind of just, he's technical striker. Like, he's fun to watch, but his lack of regard for his own defense is a problem. And if Wellmaker decides to wrestle, which I would pray that at some point he does decide to, it's a massive hole for Simon. His takedown defense is poor. His get-up game is poor. So I do like Wellmaker to get it done. Wellmaker has this incredible countering power. So I would love to see him slip and rip and get a finish here. So Wellmaker by finish is also quite interesting to me. But with as much as we have on the money line as we do, I'll be comfortable to sit with that as is. Pepe, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm on Wellmaker as well. I'll take him to beat Cameron Mighty Small Penis Simon.
Yes. And hey, by the way, and hey, not to make it about that, but hey, I'm on Malcolm Wellmaker here. All right.
Yeah. Give it up for Guru.
Let's go, Guru. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I like the size. I like the power. I like the counter ability. Cam's kind of just like a janky volume merchant, and I think he's like a flyweight, to be honest. So yeah, I like Wellmaker at like a pick'em price. I don't think I would be laying a bunch of juice on him, but I like the big moment upside like you guys were talking about, and I think he's just a really solid athlete. I like his frame for 135. I like his potential too to grow as a prospect.
Yeah, I love it, and I know there's a lot talked about how Wellmaker's already 30 years old. He has a full-time job, so he's not training full-time. I like that this guy's working a blue-collar job and is showing the dedication to still train every single night on top of it. Like, you think he's going to quit? Like, this guy's been 5 rounds. That was a janky majority decision, by the way. He wins 5 rounds, clearly, in my mind. But yeah, I really do think that Malcolm Wellmaker, he's going to show that he's a special talent, and hopefully he's able to, take a break from his job at some point and move up a little bit in training. I just don't think anything that you're learning in the Dricus Du Plessis camp is really going to make you a more technical
Dude,
or
I
better
love
fighter.
I love how people are like, he's training with Dricus, bro. Like he's gonna like somehow be able to spar Dricus.
Right. And that's the other thing is like, I know Dricus isn't as bad technically as I've like made him out to be in the past, but a lot of what makes him great is his physicality and his size
Yes.
and his ability to get in a fight.
Dude,
And
he's fucking huge for 185.
yeah, but you can't just do that in the lighter weight classes. You
No.
actually need to have skill in town. And I'm sorry, but Cameron, I've never been impressed with him. You got taken down 5 times by Shinobi. Brother, what is going on out here?
Hey,
Never-
nobody talks shit about Obi-Wan
Oh,
Kenobi Pillow.
you would back him up.
That's because it's a good nickname. It's funny.
It's a
Yo,
terrible
never
nickname.
forget when Cam was on Contender Series and Josh Wang took him down and he didn't know what to do to get up. He's just like tapping him on the head, like open-handed.
Yes. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. All right. Hopefully Visser is not doing dirty things to Simon in the corner before the fight. We'll move on. Jacqueline Adatsamore Amorim versus Apoliana Dama de Ferro Viana. That's the Iron Lady. Plus 600 for the Iron Lady. Minus 900 for Adatsamore. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Amorim is going to be able to have her way in this fight in the wrestling and grappling department. It's just if she plays around on the feet, that would be kind of dumb. I think Viana's an underrated, striker, especially against someone like Amorim. But at the same time, I don't think Amorim is dumb enough to play around from distance, and she's not a bad enough grappler to get submitted early. But the price is minus 900, and the only things that I would be interested would be a round 1 sub, but the price for that's plus 150. Like, we're way past the Dione Barbosa round 1 sub versus Diana Bobita Telturi, and Viana's actually had times where she gets finished in round 2. So it makes me scared to take round 1 in its own right. But I mean, Amorim is going to win this fight, right?
I just kind of like the under in general. Maybe I'm crazy for that.
That kind of makes it makes some sense to me.
Because Polyana Viana, all 4 of her UFC wins are also round 1. And that doesn't mean like that Amorim can't win a decision, or theoretically, if it was standing, I guess Viana could win a decision. We haven't seen it. And Viana looks in incredible shape. I mean, insanely muscular. But I just feel like Amorim, the specialist that she is, could even make a mistake, slip on a banana peel, end up in guard, and still get her sub that she's looking for. So I kind of like the under, but I also don't mind anybody wanting to stay away.
Yeah, I played some early Amorim, and I do think she has a good chunk of sub 1 equity in this fight. I'll be watching this fight close for live, and if Amorim doesn't get the finish in round 1, I'm probably gonna take off some of my bet on Amorim and just had some on Polyana after round 1. But I do feel very confident that Amorim is going to get her down in round 1. She always, attacks what she's good at. She always goes to the grappling. She doesn't waste fucking like a minute and a half, 2 minutes just fucking around on the feet. And we know that Polyana can't defend takedowns. So it's like certain that the fight is going to go to the ground. Is there a chance that Amorim jumps for a submission and puts herself in a bad position? I guess, yeah. But she's really fucking tricky in the grappling, especially in round 1. Jillian Robertson had Polyana in an armbar attempt in round 1 and wasn't able to finish it. And I was kind of curious. But then, like, I go through Jillian's record, and she doesn't have like a good armbar series. Like, I think she only has 1 career armbar. Whereas, like, Polly did get tapped by Veronica Macedo, who is not a good grappler whatsoever. So say what you want about like Pollyanna is, good at jiu-jitsu. Veronica Macedo was able to armbar her in a minute and a half. And Amarim is going to have her in some very dangerous positions. The worry is that Amarim, gasses out trying to attack the submission and isn't able to get it. So, worst case scenario is she gasses out and Vienna is able to keep it on the feet, and then Amarim pulls guard and can't hit a switch on her and get back on top. So yeah, I don't know. I'll be looking at the live lines if Amarim doesn't get the round 1 sub.
That makes sense to me. That makes a lot of sense to me. I think that there's a lot of violence to be had in this fight, and it could be a tough fight to concentrate on.
I don't think Pollyanna is gonna finish her in round 1 or like finish her in general though.
No, yeah, I with your equity on the fight, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, Amarim is tough and strong. Like,
she'll just pull guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she hasn't shown any reason to think why she wouldn't be safe.
Yeah, she's not gonna get. I mean, fuck, man. Like, I'll be screwed if Pollyanna Vienna submits her. I'll say that.
Or she comes out like who did she knock out? Fucking, what's that old lady's name?
Jenny Frey.
Yeah, like that. Like that.
Dude, that was kind of a meme, though.
It was kind of. That was a meme. Yeah. I may have invented the meme. So.
Pretty good stuff.
I mean, she submits Mallory Martin, who's like a champion over at KSW.
Yeah.
And she submits Emily Whitmire, who's terrible.
Spitfire Whitmire.
She beats Amanda Hebos by round 1 KO on the regionals, which is always hilarious.
It is kind of always hilarious. I will agree.
Yep.
And she has always been hilariously chinny too, so that's pretty good. I like that stuff. All right, we're moving on. We've got Twilight Tumi Kwamba. We're talking about the novel series, Guru's favorite, and then we've got El Charro Negro Roberto Romero. I mean, I feel like that picture of him is just not doing him any justice at all. I swear I turned on the tape expecting to see some like bald, fat, aging, like, I don't know, the dude looks normal.
Total HGH got it weigh-ins for what it's worth.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. So here's what I'll say here is I feel like Twilight Timmy, the one thing I like about him is that like he doesn't piss off. Like he really just doesn't go away. But I also don't really know that he does anything particularly great offensively. Like he's okay defensively. Like if you try to take him down a bunch, like the Vogel fight, right? Like he can kind of separate. And if you're truly a one-dimensional guy, he's like a jack of all trades. He could do a little bit of everything, but not necessarily like great. I think Roberto Romero, what I like about his game is that he gets in your face and he brings a pace. Now, I think in the Onama fight, you found out quickly that, hey, maybe on super short notice versus just an athletic freak, it wasn't meant to be. But, you look at his technical striking, the way he uses feints, his in and out movement. I think he's a better, dangerous striker than Kwamba. And for that, I got to take him as the side here because I don't think anybody's having major success in the wrestling department here. And if Kwamba tries, it just means that it's looking ugly on the feet. And he's probably not going to be successful until it's too little, too late. I'm going El Charro Negro, minus 130. But am I super confident about it? No. I do think he's going to win, though. Guru.
I lean the dog here, believe it or not. I feel like Roberto Romero's they both have kind of a reckless regard for their defense, but I actually feel like Timothy Kwamba's offense is more well-rounded, and I actually think that he's more durable. Like Roberto Romero is kind of dumb. Like he drops Onama round 1 only to get dropped himself towards the end of round 1, like just being not very intelligent. Like he just walks forward. And I feel like Timothy Kwamba is going to be able to make him pay for that. So I lean toward Kwamba here. He is taller, he's longer, and he's slightly younger, I believe. So Yeah. He's
Well,
actually no, he's 1 year older, but
so
I actually kind of like that even a little bit better just based on how young they both are.
Kwamba is favorite now.
Really?
Did you guys see that? Kwamba
No.
flipped a favorite.
Can I still get him plus money anywhere?
No,
Nowhere.
nowhere.
God damn it.
Yeah, he's minus 125 on Bet Online, and like the best price is like minus.
I liked how he looked at face-offs too, so
Yeah,
bet him.
I played Kwamba. I think he's the better fighter here.
I agree.
I think Romero is getting overrated because of dropping Onama, because Onama was not defensively prepared, and just like I don't think he gave Romero any respect in that fight. He was just not expecting that. He caught him off guard, and like by the end of the round, Romero was the one on his back. So yeah, Kwamba fought up a weight class against Oki, and then fought against Lucas Almeida, who's a way taller striker, much more defensively sound, in my opinion, than Romero. Not a fan of this Romero guy. He slows down in all of his fights, doesn't have good footwork, doesn't have good defensive striking. I don't like what I see off of his back when taken down. I think Kwamba has attempted takedowns in his 2 UFC fights, and he's landed takedowns in both of them. I think that as the fight goes on, the other thing you can tell early too is Kwamba is faster. He's faster. He's more technical.
Yeah.
So I like the way he mixes his striking in up. He goes to the body, goes to the head. Romero, he's got really good leg kicks. I just don't see him getting Kwamba out of there, and I think Kwamba is going to take over as the fight goes on. And even early, I think it's going to be Kwamba's going to have the speed, and Romero's going to have the aggression. And I'm going to take the guy with more skills, with the better cardio, with the more well-rounded game. So yeah, I liked Kwamba. I thought he was should have been a small favorite.
We see it eye to eye there, Pepe.
I shall diverge, and I'll stick on my silly little boat.
Rather than just do some tape. Check out that tape, Father.
I did already.
Oh, okay. You did good there. Oh, all right.
Yeah,
could have fooled me. I'm just kidding.
Well, you weren't listening during my breakdown, so you could have fooled me. Anyway, that doesn't ever change. Anyways, Chelsea corn-fed Chandler, Triple C joining the Triple C.
Corn-fed.
That's a good one.
Versus Jocelyn La Pantera Edwards, or is it Jocelyn Rocky Edwards? That's for you to decide as the viewer. I think she's got a very, very similar style to Leon Edwards. It's a lot of kicks, a lot of being controlled when she doesn't want to be. No, I'm just kidding.
Jocelyn, I like Jocelyn Cake Edwards.
Ooh, Jocelyn Caked Up Edwards. Yeah, I mean she's if you ask T-Pain, she's got that booty work.
Yeah.
So Chelsea Chandler here, though, I mean, she's coming in great shape. Jocelyn Edwards, she comes in great shape. Both of them making weight on the scales today. So shout out to these fighters that have had absolute abysmal times. Maybe they found Ozempic. Maybe she got off the corn and found the Ozempic. But Chelsea Chandler looking like a new fighter. But is that really enough when, one wrong punch and she's going to be running across the octagon the other direction? Yeah, as much as I'm tempted to do the Chandler side of things, I feel like I can't do it. I feel like I just need to pass on this fight in general. And, I could see Chandler having potential top time upside, potentially landing the more impactful strikes. But Edwards has kind of improved her wrestling game in her own right. She could be liable to get some top time. And she's going to be clearly the more high volume striker and landing at a much better differential from range. So, yeah, there's no reason for me to take the way older, way less talented fighter in Chelsea Chandler, who's also going to have less reach. Doesn't add up to me, so I'll just pass on the fight. It's okay.
I think that Edwards by KO is a decent look, that around plus 900. Just because this is a tough fight to find anything worth worth betting. But Chandler has gotten rocked in a lot of her fights. She's gotten dropped in multiple fights. She hates leg kicks, And Edwards is getting better. You can tell in her past few fights. Her striking has gotten a lot better. Her grappling has gotten a lot better. She's throwing a lot more volume. She's got more speed. She's in better shape. And yes, Chandler did come in and she made weight, and she's not as fat, but she doesn't look like she's like muscular. She looks like she's just like skinny fat now. So maybe it's going to affect her chin and her durability.
She's on Ozempic.
She's so hittable, man. Like, she cannot defend strikes, and Edwards can mix it up, leg kicks, body kicks, strike to the head. Maybe you just need a ref to kind of just jump in there, a mercy stoppage type thing. But I don't hate the Edwards by TKO potential prop spot.
I'm just not a fan of this fight. You can't make me bet it. I think Edwards has at least fought and beaten UFC level competition. Chandler hasn't really she's 2-2, right? And she just hasn't beaten anybody. She's got the classic meme running away from Norma Dumont. I mean, I think with Jocelyn Edwards' pressure, she could be running away here too if she doesn't play her cards right. So just not a fight I'm really interested in getting behind.
Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah. You could probably just start cooking up your parlays and figure out what you're ordering for dinner as this fight's starting to get going.
Dude, this is going to be a banger, bro.
No chance.
What do you mean, dude? Chandler throws down.
Yeah, I mean they're going to throw down, but it's going to
be a fucking slobber knocker.
It's going to go the distance.
Edwards by KO.
That would be funny.
Heard it here first.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I can dig that. I actually like that.
You know what I like? The fact that all you wonderful people decided to join us on your Friday night. If you haven't thrown a like on the video, I promise you it's not too late to do the right thing. It costs you nothing. And we're out here having a great time every week. Thank you to Pepe Sylvia for being our mediator in couples therapy today. As a great stand-in for the mediation. But no, seriously, we have a great time. And this is what you get. You get two best buds and the best guests every single week. It doesn't get any better than this. So I appreciate all you guys out there. And make sure you stay tuned weekly. We're going to keep bringing that heat. So Pepe, before we pass it off to the guru himself to take us out the right way, what do you got to say to the people, my friend?
No animals were harmed in the making of this. Thank you for having me on. Follow me on Twitter. I will. Good luck this weekend.
Pepe, most importantly, are you coming to join us at UFC 316?
I have to iron out some details first. I'm not sure yet.
You bastard. All right, well, we hope you make it.
Dogfather's gonna be there this year because now he's.
Well, of course he is. He found out TV was going, and he found out what seat we were in, and he bought the seat next to us. I'm sure. So we'll be looking forward to seeing Dogfather there. Looking forward to seeing any of you who might be there. Hopefully Pepe's there. Make sure you're following my incredible co-host, TB Scouting MMA, over on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, Pickett, Tapology, and Bet MMA. Make sure you're following Pepe Sylvia. Dude makes a lot of money, and he's good at this shit. So make sure you give him a follow. And you can follow me if you're feeling froggy. You can follow me on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, Pickett, Tapology, and Bet MMA. We are back next week, thank goodness, with UFC Des Moines. We've got Clint from Die Hard podcast coming on the show, so we're looking forward to breaking down that fight. And we will be here, so make sure you're here. And whenever TB wants to hit the music, we will get on out of here. So you be safe out there, and let's make some money, guys.